So, hello guys, welcome to another lab for APLTRIG. Now, before we begin, is there any questions regarding yung tinuro ng ng lecture or maybe from our previous lecture? Wala. Nagets niyo naman yung anong tinuro sa inyo last meeting? Okay. Sige. So, kung wala, oops, wait lang. Gets naman. Yun ba yung topic na ba last time, tinuro ba sa inyo nun nung senior high or maybe, you know, you guys learned about it before? Kaya, gets nyo? Yes? I see, I see. Kaya, chicken lang. Madali lang sa inyo, no? Okay. So kung wala, we'll just review a bit. Then, um, siguro I'll show you codes of it. Grade 7. Ah, maaga. Kung grade 7, right? Wala pang junior high pa yun or something. Right? Parang junior high. Ah, okay. Yeah, I see, I see. Besides that ba, have you guys reached like calculus? Yung calculus level or even integral calculus? Just checking lang. SHS. I see. Pre-calc and calculus. Kasama na yun yung no? Integral. Pabalik yung from from, no? Tawag doon? Basta integral. Just double checking lang. Kasi kung yes, parang, I see, I see. I see. So medyo, parang hindi na to kailangan tong applied trig, no? Kung natutunan niyo na before, I feel like ang use ng applied trig is maybe application use. Pero medyo rusty. Sige, sige. Alright. Sige, review muna tayo. Let me share my screen. Kita naman. Eight people. Sige. Hopefully, kita nyo. Let me adjust it lang. 30 FPS. 720. Okay. So, review muna tayo with triangles. So, alam niyo naman, ang triangles is comprised with 3 angles and 3 line segments, where the sum of all angles is 180 degrees. E, paano square? Uh, ano yung sum of all the four angles in the square? If a triangle sums up to 180 degrees, ang square, ano? What do you guys think? A square is made out of all 90 degrees. So, what is the sum of all the angles of a square? Nako. 90 times 4 is equal to 360. There's a there's a formula naman for this. Then again, it could be useful actually. Um, it really depends on your application to games. Maybe you need a n number of sides ni na shape. So knowing yung sum of all angles any shape, you could dynamically create a shape. Dynamic meaning you can give any number and it could create that shape. So, medyo important siya. Medyo, depende. Depende talaga kung ano yung anong ginagawa. If you think about it, it could be useful, especially has anyone here played any bullet hell games? Bullet hell? No? Oh, nako. Hindi ko yung naglalaro ng bullet hell. Hades kinda. But anyway, sometimes you could use those formulas to create a certain pattern. Hades Souls Night. Right, exactly. So ganun. You could create a pattern sa mga bullets na yun, how it spreads around. So it has some use. Okay. So anyway, going back. So Pythagorean theorem. You guys remember a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared? Yes, yes. So if a is 5 and b is 5, ano nga see? Ooh. Anyone? Ano yung length ng c natin? Given one side is a, the other side is b, and it's a 90-degree. Hold on. 7.07. Let me bring out the calculator. Correct. 5 square root of 2. Yeah. It's our 7.07. So how did we get that? So the square root of a squared plus b squared would be equal to c. Okay. So if you do the math, 25 plus 25, 50. Square root of 50 is 5 square root of 2. Okay. Now, so we have our distance formula. It's basically the Pythagorean theorem, right? But may points ka. Let's say x2 minus x1. Ay, yung x2 at saka x1, y2, y1. This shows yung points in a plane. So, let's say itong point na to, this would be like, let's imagine it thing 0. 0, 0, L will be 5, 0, B will be, K will be 0, 5. Okay? So, if you do uh, yung itong part na to, like 5 minus 0, so it's still 5. And then, so y2 minus y1, 0 minus 5, negative 5. But then, since both squared, it becomes positive 25 for both sides. And then, square root of it, you get the length. So, imagine na lang, you're creating a triangle out of 2 points. You're just getting yung length ng x nila. Let's say itong k at I. You're just getting the length of the x and y. tapos may 90 degrees ka. With that, imagine na lang it's a right triangle. Then you do the Pythagorean theorem, which is, ayun, distance. You get the distance formula. So the thing is, this also works with 3D points or a 3D plane. And it's almost the same thing except you have additional z. So it would be x squared minus x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared plus z2 minus z1 squared. Okay. Now, the positioning of the x2, x1, not that important as long as you follow it on each point. So like in here, this is x2 minus x1. Dito is y2 minus y1. So kung gusto mo x1 minus x2, dapat y1 minus y2. Okay? So kinda important lang. Kinda. You can put it in any direction. Any direction, yeah. If you're getting the distance formula. Okay? Kasi either way, masa-square yun, and it's gonna end up being a positive number. Right? Then, ito, these are special types of triangles. Ang triangle being both, having both of this angle is 45, and then may right angle siya dito. The other one is the 30, 60, 90 triangle. Now, ang 45 degrees, imagine na ng V, the both sides, kasi since they're both the same angle, equal yung sides nila, V. But the hypotenuse would be V square root of 2. Okay, V square root of 2. So same thing here, ang 30, 60, 90, sa side opposite to the 30 degree will be V. The side opposite to the 60 degree will be V square root of 3. And the hypotenuse will be 2V. Okay, so how do we test it? I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure di pa kayo tinuturo ng angles, sine, cosine. Right. So let's say, oops, sorry. Let's say V is 5. V is 5. To get the other side, hold on. So, so, okay. It will be 5 divided by the sine of 30. Trigonometry, 30, sine. You would have gotten, yeah, well, we would have gotten 10. Okay, so this part, don't worry. Di pa kayo tinuturuan. So, I'm just showing you that it'll be equal to twice the yung sa 30 degrees. And same thing here with the 60 degree. So let's say if this is 5, this is 10. So cosine 30 is equal to blank over 10. 10 times cosine 30, 8.66. Remember that? 8.66. So try natin. That is 5 times square root of 3, 8.66. Okay. So these are special types. You don't have to use a calculator para ma-gets nyo na agad. Kapag 30, 60, 90, you know that we have x square root of 3, and then 2x. Same thing with the 45 degree, x square root of 2. Right? So, since hanggang doon lang kayo, actually wanted to teach yung angles today, pero I think we would go too much ahead with yung lecture part. And it's going to be awkward if mas nauna pa yung lab kasi yung lecture part. So, I guess that will wait na lang. Kaya drills muna tayo. I'm gonna call out random names again. And hopefully, you would answer. If not, okay lang. Don't worry. Uh, review na lang. Right? So, one. What kind of triangle is it? Jamie? What kind of right triangle? Oh, what kind of triangle is this? Jamie? Sinabi ko na. It's okay. It's a right triangle. How do you know that? Point A, we have -7 and 1. CBA is a right angle. So given that's a right angle, it's a right triangle na. Okay. Sige. 2. What point would point B be? Uh, Cruz? Given this is a right angle. Point A is 7, 1. Let's turn on pen. This is 7, 1. Point C is negative. How does this become -4? Ah, sorry, -7 pala. Kaya pala. -4, 4. So if this is a right angle, what would be B? So remember, the first one, this is X, this is Y. This is X, this is Y. So in this, do I have another color here? Okay, I want green. Here's your X. This is your Y. Attendance, I'll go through it again later. So what point would point B be? Cruz? Uh, okay. So this is our X. Right, this is -7. This is -4, and the um x-axis. So, given is a right angle, dire-diretso lang yan, this will end up in the -4. Okay? Next is ito. In our y-axis, we have here 4, which is in this y-axis. And then we have 1 here, is our y-axis. So, this is 1. Alright? So, that will be our point B. So, let me clear that. This is now -4, 1. Alright? And let me just put this right again. 4, 4. And then -7, 1. It's alright. Now, number 3. What is the measure of O? So this is O. So, Jimenez, what will be the measure of O? 3. Correct. So you could use the Pythagorean theorem here. So, sorry, the distance formula. given this is like maybe x1, y1 is x2, y2, right? And you could do that or you could just count it. But if you want it, if you want to do the math here, it'll be like -4 minus -4 squared plus 4 minus 1 squared. The square root of all that would be the distance. So -4 minus -4, we have 0. Plus 4 minus 1, 3. So you square 0 squared is 0, 3 squared will be 9, 0 plus 9 is 9. So the square root of 9 is equal to d, which is equal to 3. So correct. You're right, Jimenez. It's 3. Now, say that the angle is unknown, but A and O both have the same value as at 3. So, unknown. Imagine na lang, unknown mga to. But all you know is both A and B, A and O have a value of 3. So, what do you think will be the value of H here? Using, well, using the special triangles, if you remember. So, okay lang kung hindi. Isaac?
Hello, sir.
So, if let's say O and A is equal to 3, and hindi given ang angles nito, what will be the length of H? Yeah. Ikaw. Ikaw, Isaac. So, given, we're in number 5. Okay, sige. Uh, how about, sorry, dalawa pa yung Isaac natin, no? Sige, yung ibang Isaac, 4.24. Let's see, let's bring out our calculator. So, remember, kapag 45, kapag equal to, we can do, oh no, where's my calculator? We can still do the distance formula, but then. So, remember, x squared plus y squared. Sorry, the square root of x squared plus y squared. So again, it would be like 3 squared plus 3 squared. And then square root of that, 4.24. Or, yes, correct, 3 square root of 2. Because it'll just be square root of 2, 3 squared. And with algebra, you can just take out all the squares, bring it outside, 3 square root of 2. Okay? So, next. If angle ABC is 90, and assume A is equal to 3 here, what is the angle of ACB? So what is this? Let's go with Aaron. Aaron Camarillo. Given this is a right angle on ABC, what is the angle of ACB?
You called for me po, sir?
Yes, you.
Okay.
What would this angle be? Given this is a right angle on ABC, this is a 30-degree angle on CAB. So, what is
60 degrees po.
correct?
Uh,
But, yes, yes, tama ka. Okay. So, you can do the addition of all, the sum of all the angles, which is again 180, right? In a triangle. So, 180 minus 30 minus 90, you will eventually get 60. So, next, what value would O have given A is equal to 3? Oops, okay, never mind. So, tong part na to, since di pa kayo nag-angles, I guess we can not do that. Let's see. 9 solves for proper special right angles. Do you guys remember yung ano? Do you guys remember the special properties of a, ano, of a 30, 60, 90 triangle? So, anyone can answer this? Kung sino man. Number 9. Using the 30, 60, 90. Anyone? Given A is equal to 3. 3 square root of 3. Anyone else? 3. 3 would work if they were both 45 degrees. That would mean they have equal sides. But 3, 3 times square root of 3, 2 times 3. Nope. Okay. So, if you recall, on the 30-degree angle, the opposite side will be, let's say, x. On the 60-degree angle, the opposite side will be x square root of 3. And then h would be 2x. Okay, remember that. Now the thing is, a is equal to 3. Hence, 3 is equal to x square root of 3. So x would be, sorry, x would be equal to 3 over square root of 3. Or uh, we can do 3 square root of 3 over 3. Tama ba to? 3 squared. 3 square root of 3. Tama to. X square root of 3. Hold on. 3 over square root of 3. We can multiply square root of 3 over square root of 3. That would be 3 square root of 3 over 3 square root of 3. Yeah, answer is square root of 3. So if you do the math, if O is square root of 3, that is our x, this would be square root of 3 times square root of 3, which is equal to 3. So, ayun. O is equal to square root of 3, or in calculator, that will be 1.73. Okay? So, could be useful. Use itong knowledge for 30, 60, 90. But in gaming application, not really. Not really that useful. Good to know. Right. So what would O What value would h have? Solve using the properties of a special right triangle. Ayun. Like I said a while ago, uh, using this special, this would be x square root of 3. This is 2x. So h is, ay sorry. You want a screenshot? Pwede na panoorin yung ano, yung video. I'll post it again later. So anyone, what would h be given the special right triangle? 2 square root of 3 or 2 times square root of 3. Okay? So that is yung 30, 60, 90. So good to know. Could be useful maybe at some point. Okay? So kapag code, it would kinda the the formula in code, it kind of looks like this for the distance formula. You have the square root of yung the power of 2 to the sa ano, x3, let's say x3 minus x1, given the 2 points. Plus yung y3 minus y1 squared. Okay, so this is what it looks like sa code. And if, let's say, given we have these points, x1, y1 is on 80, that will be our rock right here. For our w, which is the block, that is 180, 80. So it's in the same y. So ito yung 180, 80. And then for our 3, it will be 180 to 50 up here. Right. So yung hypotenuse natin would be the square root of the squared ng x3 minus x1. So how do we know this works? Let's say our side 1 would be, you don't have to copy this, but I'm just showing you. So I want yung from the rock to the block. So that is x1, y1, and x2, y2. So x1, x2, tsaka y1, y2. So how do you know if it's correct? Let me just print. Side is side 1. Side is 100. So how do we know? Remember, this is x1 and this is x2. So it's definitely just adding 100 lang. Yung y1 tsaka y2, if you minus it, it will be 0. So 100 squared, the square root of that, you have 100. And then we have also our side 2, which is the math square root of the math pow of, that is the x2, y2, x3, y3. So you can use any as long as you follow the how it goes. x2, x3, and then y2, y3 squared. So the triangle side 2 would be side 2, 170. So check natin. x2 and x3, minus it together, 0, 250 minus 80 would be 170. Okay, so that is your right angle right here. Hence, itong si hypotenuse would be 197. So you can always play around with this as long as you follow yung right angle. The moment it's not a right angle, it messes things up. Hindi na siya tama. So let's say move natin yung rock natin to the left a bit. That is x here, maybe 40. And, oops, forgot. We should play this, and then play this. It should update. Ayan, everything changes. So, trying the side is still 170 pa rin. Kasi ito yun. Pero ito, humaba siya, 140. So, if you check, 40 and 180 minus it, you have 140. So our hypotenuse will be 220, right? So this is quite useful if you want to get a distance from one point to another in a 2D plane using the distance formula, right? Where else can we use this? Uh, with the distance formula, you could kind of use it also for uh siguro imagine like detection range. So how would you know how far if nasa within detection range siya? So you would have to compute the distance from them and then compare if it is below the detection range. And if it is, nade-detect siya. Okay? So that is a code way. But if you're using Unity or Unreal, of course you have colliders. So that kind of like you don't really kind of use it anymore, right? It could also be useful, let's say in a tower defense. Let's say may tower defense ka, may tower ka dito, and then my path going from here to whatever. Which tower, oh, which enemy will the tower target, right? So usually, ang ginagawa nila is they target the nearest to the base. So if they were to, oops, let's make it the triangle. If they were to check lahat ng mga within the range, mas target niya ang mas malapit sa base. And how? How did they compute that? Using the distance formula, itong uh, hypotenuse, they will know how far they are. And malalaman niya yung pinaka-closest is ito compared to ito and ito. Okay? So that's another way. Pwede mo siya gamitin for objectives. Well, usually when you play a 3D game, or sorry, a adventure game, they would have so our game here. Ooh, our game here. Let's say ikaw yung nagbabaril, or let's say FPS, right? Sometimes they have objectives and it tells you how many meters away are you from that. So may mga ganun. How do they do that? Again, we have the distance formula. They just get the point of where the player is in the world, get the point of wherever that uh, places or objective is. And again, it's the same Pythagorean theorem given a 3D point. Okay. So sometimes yung sa code, they already have functions that computes for distance. Like vector, say vector dot distance, actually capital D, distance, right? This one, automatic niya kukunin yung distance from a given point na vector 2, okay, and another vector 2. But if you want to do it the old-fashioned way, sure, pathfinding. Pathfinding could work, pero that uses a different how do you say this, technique. Usually it's called A star, an A star kind of pathfinding. So given, let's say may path ka na let's say So whatever. It goes here to there. Maybe up. Maybe goes here, and maybe it splits off into here to here, whatever. Okay. Pathfinding, usually ginagawa nila is they create multiple points. This is A star. There are multiple points in a grid. Then of course it will cancel out all the points where a obstacle is blocking. So parang malalaman niya this is not a path. This is not a path. This is not a path. Malalaman niya yun. And then with A star, parang let's say kung dito, it will go through each point that yung pinaka-optimized way. Actually, it starts from here. Starts from here to check niya lahat, all the X and Y. So that's pathfinding. It's kinda connected rin to distance formula. It would check kung which one is faster. Like going either to this point, or this point, or this point, this point, etc. etc. Iko-compute niya yun. Right? Until ang lalabas is yung shortest na path. So you can research about it. That's called a star. Pathfinding. There are other ways rin to do that, but A star is the most optimized way to finding a for the pathfinding. Okay? So kinda connected. Right? Ano pa ba? Distance. What other distance? Kayo, what do you think would you use a distance formula for? Any? Any game? If you want, just gonna go back to Genshin, pero no one plays Genshin anymore. Terraria Gapping Hook. Pwede. Kailangan malaman ni... I'm pretty sure it's not infinite, right? That hook is not infinite. Because usually, let's say a player... Let's go down here. What they do is they would usually raycast, meaning to cast a ray in whatever direction the mouse is. Okay? And to check niya how far it is. Then usually it will compute yung distance niya is if this distance is greater than yung sa grappling hook. Of course, di niya, it won't stick. It will just fall off. That grappling hook will just fall off because it is less than yung distance. Kaya it could be. It could be used. Malalaman niya kung saan siya dapat. The swinging part, is there swinging? May swinging ba sa grappling hook? Yung swinging medyo physics niya yun eh. Parang wala na siyang pake. It'll just maybe go ka lang until something blocks you. Then it'll just stop there. Pero ang distance niya, maybe would still keep it. It really depends on the game. Right? Ano pa ba? What other popular games do we have? Hindi ko si Valorant, pero kinda. Pwede. You know how you can ping? You can ping places in Valo. It'll show maybe this 8 meters. Ooh. 8 meters. Right. It all it does is gets your point of your camera ito yung camera natin. It gets that point of the camera, it and then whatever that other point is, all it does, it will just use the distance formula. Again, Pythagorean theorem. And then you'll get whatever this is, this distance, yun yun. Yun yung nakita nyo. Okay, if you go farther, it will change pa. Actually, if you crouch, could be? Would it change? Maybe. Baka hindi. Kasi if not from the camera, maybe from your feet, it will get the distance. So again, still uses the distance formula. Okay? So itong distance formula could be useful, especially when you want to get some distance. And same thing if it's a 3D 3D plane, we have z2 minus z1 squared. And it's still the same thing. Usually ano eh, kapag 2D plane, di ba wala to? Kasi technically, this is both 0. Kaya nawawala siya. Right? Questions? Clarifications? None? Pwede rin si ano, Baldur's Gate. When you want to move to a certain place, diba, from one point, you want to go another point. But sometimes the pathfinding, it's too long or something. Again, it checks the distance. Kaya that's how it computes. Kaya minsan, you wanted to go here but it ends here because it's always based on uh how much you can move and how much distance you have covered. Okay? I don't play Baldur's Gate, but I'd want to. But again, uh, maybe kapag naka-discount. Okay? So that's the distance formula. There are so many uses for the distance formula. So I'm looking for other things. Let's say to projectile motion. Not really. See, projectile kasi it follows a certain equation. From one point, let's say in here, the projectile, where it ends, usually hindi na siya distance formula. You have a different formula for how far it will drop, how high it will reach, what angle is it at this point. May mga ganun. Those are whole different formulas. So distance formula, hindi siya 100% useful here because we're dealing with a parabolic motion. Right? I mean, pwede siguro if you want to get, I don't know, I'm thinking. Kasi usually given na to eh. The x in a distance formula, the x goes to the right in a uniform value. It will never slow down. Ang y lang yung nag-iiba. Kasi it's from going up, tapos bababa pa siya. Yung x mo, dire-diretso na siya. So usually, if you want to get a point, madire lang siya sa x. Yung y is a bit tricky. Right? So, hindi siya that much connected. But it's actually a fun. Medyo masaya tong part na to. But maybe we'll learn it when we go further down trig. Okay? Or let's say si ano, si let's say Monster Hunter. Monster Hunters um ano tawag dun? Ano tawag sa baril ng Monster Hunter? Heavy bowgun and light bowgun, right? Di ba si heavy bowgun, if it tells you if the monster is too far to use your to use your yung shot na yun. Same thing. It still uses distance formula. It checks it has like checks for how far lang. So from your point to the monster, okay? It checks how far you are. May check siyang mga values for, let's say, distance for your spread. So spread distance or your normal shot distance. Ayun. It all has those checks based on the distance. Alright. So I think that's how yung paano na kinocompute, especially sa spread. And when you have mods pa, where yung mods mo is kailangan dapat super close ka. When I mean mods, as in bowgun mods. 8 ball. 8 ball. Actually useful si 8 ball given you know how to use angles. Kasi, let's say you want to hit the ball. Let's make it a bit complicated. You have a ball here. You have a ball. Maybe here. This is your cue. Your cue ball. This is your 8 ball. Now, the distance formula could be used when you create that line trace. Kasi, di ba you have a line trace kapag you're about to hit it with your cue, with your stick pala, magkaroon siya ng line trace, and then that line trace usually ends and maybe it bounces off until to a certain distance lang. How does it know? It actually gets the distance from ito, tapos itong bounce na to, base yun sa angle mo in here. Your angle from hitting this. Wait lang. Ayan. Itong angle na to, hitting this. So parang imagine mo a flat thing here. That will be based on, well, again, angles siya. You're gonna be using, you call it dot product. Dot, is it dot product? Yeah. Dot product. It tells you how your how it will bounce, basically. Okay. So again, itong line usually it ends. It uses distance formula. Of course, it would have checked until here. Pero since the game only tells you na you can only see until this far, it just yung opacity niya it just lower here. Di mo na makita. Right? Now, usually may physics engine na sila when it comes to making it bounce to different stuff. Or if not, actually it would have been better if hindi siya because sometimes a physics engine may affect yung game mo na ayaw mo. Baka bigla lang nag-bounce ng bigla somewhere. So sometimes they'd actually just use full math on this para 100% accurate siya. Like, they have control on yung drag, yung um, yung power, etc. etc. right? That way, they don't have to rely on the physics engine. So may mga ganun. So those are a whole different thing. Hindi na siya trigonometry. Ang trigonometry nung dito is itong angles. Right? Questions? Clarifications? Was I want to teach more today with angles, pero di pa tayo maabot dun. So, pa lang. Next time na lang. No questions? No clarifications? All good? Sige, hopefully you guys remember. Now, next meeting, alam ko gusto ng faculty na mag face-to-face kayo next week. If I recall. If that's the plan pa rin. Kung ganon, inisip ko baka because we have a let me check. Alam ko quiz siya eh. Hold on ah. Give me a sec. Check yung ano yung calendar natin. Yep, it's a quiz. So yung quiz na yun, probably make it a 1 hour kind of quiz. And pwede nyo siguro i-take doon. Pero again, ito-double check ko. If not, if di kayo magpa-face to face, edi dito tayo mag lecture ulit. Yung face to face no, di ko alam. If you will bring calculator or not. Iba pa yung face to face nyo sa class ko ah. Again, we have two different trig classes, the lab and the lecture. So iba yung si 2 to 2:40 sa 1 o'clock natin. Okay. So that one, it will be held in collab again, Google Collabs. It's mostly just answering lang naman yung ano eh. Distance formula. Mostly. Parang to check niya kung ano yung ano. Can I talk to you after class? Sure. Sure. Alright. So again, quiz next week. Google Collab siya. Possibly online. Online lang siya. I think kasi gusto ni Sir mag-meeting kayo, mag-class kayo ng 1 o'clock. Meaning you'll be taking my time. And then, mag-switch lang kami. Ako yung may hapon na 1 hour, 30 minutes lang. But again, we'll post. Okay. So we have the two different midterms for the lab and lecture classes. Midterms, inisip ko pa eh. The original plan is may group thing kayo for midterms. But medyo ayoko yun. So baka mag-quiz lang tayo. Two different midterms for lab and lecture. Kinda. Baka quiz lang. So yung grade nyo will be added together, then divide by 2. Because, 2 classes. Right. Ayoko yun ng group eh. Yung group na yun, magpa-present kayo ng something as a group. And, not not my thing. Right? So questions, clarifications, other questions besides yung maybe tungkol sa ano for tomorrow. For next week, sorry. None. Sige, if not, If not, let me just double check attendance. Si JV, wala. Victor Balane, Victor, and also Benaflor. I think you're here. Busa, yeah, you're here. Belga, yeah. De Christoph, Reso, JK, yep, you're here. Jimenez, I think I've seen that. I've seen his name. La Rosa, La Rosa. Jim? Jim Christian? Christian? Nope. Angelito? Angelito? No. Yep, you're here. Kevin, JK. Nope. Namagui? Michelle Manabat? Michelle. Yep. Manguera. Yep, you're here. And finally, Romina. Wala. Romina Mary. Yep, you're here. Okay. So, yung wala dito lang is si Victor Balane, JV Alcantara, and ano? Victor Balane, JV, Jim, Rosa, and Kevin. Okay. So, yeah, that's it for today. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. Yung mga gusto... Ay, yung quiz nyo pala ng last week, di ko pa na, ano, di ko pa na-check. So, don't worry. Di ko pa na, ano, naayos yun. Di ko pa na-update yun. Okay? So, chill lang. But again, if you have other questions, that's it for today. You guys can go. Yung mga gusto, yung mga may tatanong, you can stay behind.